Alright, how's it going everyone? Welcome to Death or Boredom, or depending on the game, could even be Death from Boredom. This particular game is Nioh, so anything's possible. Something slightly different today. This is actually post-commentary. I tried recording live commentary for this a couple of times, and it turned out really bad. My commentary was even lamer than normal. Now, I did specifically want to record this though, because I wanted to just talk. I played the beta of this game, and frankly, I did not much care for it at all. That's putting it lightly. I didn't like the combat. I found that it was overly complex, almost just for the sake of being complex, with the whole stance systems and things like that, and it's really hard to balance a stance system in my experience in games. It's either one stance is just noticeably better than all the others, in which case why would you even bother having a stance system, because you'll always just stay in the one stance. Or the other option is that it's just a case of, you know, paper, rock, scissors. Stance A for enemy A, stance B for enemy B, and stance C for enemy C. In which case it's just an extra button press before you engage, and again, why would you even bother having it? It's just seemed a bit silly. The other things I didn't like about the beta was the difficulty. It seemed as if they just... Oh, Souls games are difficult. People must like difficulty. Let's just make our game difficult just because we can. And it wasn't an intelligent difficulty either. It was just they seemed. This was my impression, by the way. This is not necessarily the truth. This is just how I perceive things to be. But the enemies, they just seem to buff them, give them heaps of health, make them hit stupidly hard when they hit you, and then throw 3 or 4 of them at you at a time, and that just didn't seem like an intelligent use of difficulty. Like, you know, what it should have been, use the environment to trick the player. You know, make them rush forward. Oh look, there's a shiny on the ground, I'll rush forward and get that. Oh whoops, I didn't see that there was an ambush and someone's come up behind me and kicked me off a cliff. You know, make it, when I die, make it my own fault most of the time. That's intelligent difficulty. And it just seemed the beta just did not do that at all. And the other thing to complain about, so many game mechanics. Just so many mechanics. It's I don't think I particularly showed it off much in this particular video, but there are so many different mechanics not related directly to the combat. There's like the Diablo style loot system. You've seen that whenever I kill anyone, they just explode in a shower of gold and weapons, and well, here I am trying to be fancy and shoot the guy before he wakes up. Not the most brilliant of moves, I don't think, but nonetheless, there's Diablo style loot. There's a Borderlands style badass ranking system. There's MMO clans. I don't know if they were in the beta or not. I suspect not, but I didn't get very far to actually find out. There's just some weird guild or clan system or something. And there's a forging system that itself has multiple layers of sub-mechanics and things to do. It's just... It's like they took... Oh, what's our favourite game of the past, 20 years, and everyone on the dev team pick a game and we'll smush them all together and see what we can come up with. And it was just overwhelming. And this was me completely failing to snipe that guy who was throwing bombs at me, so don't worry, I'll get him later. There's so much stuff. There comes a time... I lost where he was there. There comes a time when you've got to just sort of stand back, take a step back, take an objective look at what you're doing and saying, right, what is the primary focus of our game, which in this case basically is this combat, action combat, hack and slash RPG, whatever you want to call it, but there's all these other stuff. Now, how do they directly relate to This is what happens when you're not watching where you're going, trying to find an enemy. off in the background, stuck on geometry. You got to say, how does this relate to the game, to the way the game works, the main focus of the game? If we took this away, you know, what would happen? Would the game be any less? And I think they could definitely have chopped out a lot of systems in this game. Now, with that bit of a rant going on there, you may think that I don't actually like this game. And it's true, I didn't really like the beta, but when it came out, I watched a few YouTube videos, and to be perfectly honest, it kind of grew on me. I got sort of enthusiastic about it, one might even say. It started to look pretty good, so I picked it up and I've played a bit of it, and actually I really am starting to enjoy it, to be honest. It's well, let's go through those points I made earlier. The combat is still, I don't believe it's changed. It's still very complex, but I had an epiphany about that. It's not just that it's a complex combat system, it is a direct homage to Japanese samurai and ninja movies of the 70s. I don't actually have that many skills unlocked in this character, but you can do all sorts of fancy acrobatics. There's the light shining off the sword when you swing it. There's those metallic swing noises. It's pure cinema. And when I came to that realisation, I suddenly realised that, yeah, something just clicked. It's just so much better than it, without changing in the slightest. It's so much better than it used to be, which is weird, but that's how my brain works. The difficulty, I don't know if they balanced the difficulty since the beta or not, or perhaps I just managed to get slightly good. But truth be known, I haven't actually had huge amounts of problems. The only time I was kind of beating my head was the boss, who I want to say is Hinoenma, I think is her name, the flying vampire woman who beats you about the head with her parasol. She killed me, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times, probably not many more than that. So even when I say, you know, I hit a stumbling block there, it wasn't that much of a stumbling block. So I guess there's that. And, you know, I'm so bad at games that if they're too difficult, I just give up in disgust. But I haven't given up on this yet. There are still millions of game mechanics, though. I guess that's something that... Well, to be perfectly honest, I haven't really messed with heaps of them. I haven't unlocked the MMO stuff yet. So I don't have to worry about that, and I'm probably not going to bother anyway. I don't really do heaps of forging or anything. Oh, one thing I will say, I've turned the music off in this game. I don't like it. I'm not going to say it's awful because I'll probably offend someone, but I really don't like it. Especially the boss music has got this sort of 80s buddy cop movie power saxophone riff. It just does not seem appropriate at all. I don't care for it. But that's a very minor quibble. Like, as I said, I've turned the music off, so you know, it's no big deal at all. Anyway, that's kind of all. Oh, here I am noticing some eyes in the wall. And yes, apparently if you those revenants there, there's probably an NPC one nearby that tells you don't use that gesture to get them off. So I guess that's one thing. I would have thought it would be better if the eye colours changed. You know, if its eyes were blue, then either do use a blue gesture, or the blue gesture is the one that sets it off and makes it angry. Either way would have been better than just hoping that somebody else died to it, or that the devs put in an NPC there to let you go. But nonetheless, it's don't worry, I didn't figure that trick out on my own. That's stuff that I've seen other people do. As probably will be most of this game. Look, I'm not playing this game wholly blind. I am still kind of exploring through and getting lost because I don't have the best memory, and especially this level so far I've found the maps are they're not the greatest, not the best level design in this game. And then you get in the submissions and it's just a small portion of the main map usually, but look, you may think from this rant that I don't like this game. I don't want to give that impression. As I said earlier, I did not like the beta, but I'm actually quite enjoying the main game. It's definitely grown on me. It's not... I don't feel that I'll be fanboy spooging over it like some people have, like people who just think it's the best game ever and all that. It's a pretty good game. It's not the best game I've ever played. It's... if I had to rate it compared to other games I've played, I'd say it's in the top half, certainly. It's not up in the top, right up towards the top of the list, but yeah, and now I'm just speaking shit because I've still got a few minutes of this video left to go and I've already finished what I was going to talk about. Yes, in any case, this guy gave me the shits. I think this was the one who was throwing the bombs at me before. And here I am, wreaking my revenge. Getting lost. I keep looking up at the mini-map when I'm playing because I keep getting lost. So it's not actually the greatest mini-map of all. Yeah, you can see this statue here I'm about to shoot at. It's a different texture, or different colours. So you can always sort of tell. It's like old cartoons from the 40s and 50s. The background is painted in one colour palette, and the foreground, the things that are going to move are a very different sort of colour. So you can always sort of pick them out. Not to mention that there's a big red spot on the mini-map. I must have some sort of enemy sense. Now, these two guys that I'm about to start fighting, I thought I'd get fancy with them. Here, there they are up there. You can see them on the map there. And I thought, oh well, can you lock on before you wake them up? No, apparently you can't. There we go. And I thought I'd get fancy. I'll chuck a firebomb at him. Oh, that is not the firebomb button. That's the firebomb button. And this video is rapidly coming to a close here. You can probably tell what's about to happen. I decided to get greedy. There's the kick, and I should have healed instead. There you go. One more for the death counter. I think I end up death with most of these videos. But anyway, that is Death or Boredom. That was Nioh. In spite of everything I said, yeah, it's a pretty good game. I enjoy it. Bye.